Many people in our area celebrated Veterans Day over the weekend, from parades to assemblies at schools to other special programs. Even though the holiday is over, the stories of our servicemen and women certainly continue. One local veteran turned author used the holiday to talk about a book he wrote titled "We Still Aim High: The African American Experience in the United States Air Force, 1947 to 2023. Aim high, of course, the Air Force motto. WBTV's Dedrick Russell sat down with Dr. Darrell Grisby to talk about the importance of the book and why veterans have to still aim high. It is tonight's cover story.
This past weekend, an elementary school student made this card and presented it to Dr. Darrell Grisby.
Dear veteran, thank you for your service and everything you did for us and for us to have a better life. It did my heart good to see that.
Grisby served in the United States Air Force for 25 years. He worked in the dental field, helping identify bodies that were burned or severely disfigured.
We always hear, thank you for your service. And we usually return with thank you for your support. But do you want to hear my story?
Giving African-American men and women veterans the opportunity to tell their stories prompted Grisby to write his first book. It took him nearly 4 years to do it.
In your research, what surprised you?
What surprised me was the amount of contributions that we had made that was really not told. Like I said, I was in the Air Force for 25 years. I really did not know the story of the Tuskegee Airmen. And it would only be in very short blurbs in our information and our study materials. Some of the trailblazers that are included in my book: General Lloyd Fig Newton, General Chappie James, who I got to meet.
General Lloyd Fig Newton became the first African-American pilot in the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. General Chappie James became the first African-American to reach the rank of 4-star general in the United States Armed Forces. Grisby sent a survey to several black veterans to talk about their experiences, and they didn't hold back.
Some of them were very short. Some of them were very long, telling their stories, how they had to persevere through obvious discrimination, how they had to be educated at higher levels just to be promoted along with everyone else. And sometimes the frustration that they would have to go through, knowing that what was happening to them was not right.
Grisby says he could identify with what the veterans told him.
We were called the N-word. We were punished.
In the Air Force.
Oh yes, and that's detailed in my book also. And we couldn't really fight back because we would have been more severely punished.
Arthur Wilson appreciates Grisby telling these stories. He calls it risky.
It's always been played down as just be quiet, move on. You don't need to necessarily tell your story.
Wilson served in the Army during the Vietnam War. He too can relate.
But I also think it's needed so that those coming down the road behind us see and hear and can read what experiences we had.
Despite those experiences, these veterans say they would do it all again.
50 years later, some of the people that I meet that served with me, I'd serve with them again.
So do you have any regrets joining the Air Force?
No, at all, not at all. And that's one of the things I detail in the book, because the book is not a hit piece on the Air Force. I came in at 17 years old. I retired at 42. I became a man in the Air Force. I took advantage of every opportunity they provided me. I was going to make it work as much for me as I was working for it.
Despite everything?
Despite everything. Because of the GI Bill and because of me being in, I was able to achieve 5 degrees and did not pay a dime, don't owe student loans.
This veteran turned author looks back on his time serving his country. His pictures and awards tell the story. The pictures and images you don't see are saved for the experts. Wilson and other veterans have been going to one for the past 11 years.
We get together every week with a counselor so that we can talk about issues and things that happened to us over the years. And at first, we used to talk about what the war did and how we've been affected. Now we talk about the grandchildren and what's going on at church and those type of things.
It appears time can heal some wounds, while Grisby and these veterans believe it's always the right time to tell and hear a story of an African American veteran. In Charlotte, Dedrick Russell, WBTV, on your side tonight.
We appreciate them, heroes, every last one of them. Dedrick, thank you.